Welcome to the first RUSD Equity Speaker Series, Stronger Together. I'm Jacqueline Perez, Assistant Superintendent of Equity Access and Community Engagement. We want to provide you with key topics for families and high school students that address topics of diversity and inclusion, all issues that are important to our community. Tonight, we're kicking off with our partners from UC Riverside, School of Medicine, Division of Biomedical Sciences. This evening's topic is STEM careers. Who will you become? I'd like to introduce Pika Preston from UCR to introduce our panelists.
Thank you so much, Jackie, for having us here today. Yes, my name is Pika Preston. I'm a project manager from UCR, working in collaboration with our UCR PhD students to bring to you tonight a blueprint of educational accessibility. Our goal is to bridge the gap between the uneducated and economic forces of our local communities, teaching them that higher education attainment is possible. Tonight, you will hear the stories of our students as they detail the discoveries of their own life paths and their accomplishments. Tonight, I would like to introduce to you three of our amazing PhD students who have essentially conquered so much throughout their time and throughout their journey. And they will be sharing that information with you today. I would like to first introduce Eddie Vascara. He is a fourth-year biomedical science PhD student at UCR, originally from Santa Ana, California, but has lived in San Diego and Riverside for school. He is the first person in his family to go to college and the first to pursue a PhD. In his free time, he loves to go hiking in nature and hang out at the beach. His passion in life for his family and giving back to his communities. With us tonight, we also have Kazaya Israel. She is a Philadelphia native who relocated to Southern California to pursue her PhD in biomedical sciences here at UCR. She is currently a second-year student studying the inflammatory processes of asthma. Her research aims to thoroughly investigate the complexity of asthma disease progression in hopes of providing novel therapeutic avenues. Aside from her studies, she loves to hike, run, and watch movies. And also joining us tonight is Rogelio Nunes-Flores, who is a third-year biomedical sciences PhD student from Riverside, and he is also the first person in his family to go to college. He received his BS in bioengineering from UCSD and MS in biology from CSULA. He is currently working on studying insect olfaction and how certain volitions exposure may alter our epigenetics. In his free time, he enjoys playing video games and hanging out with his friends. Thank you so much for having us again tonight.
Well, welcome everybody to this evening's presentation. I sincerely want to thank both the students and your families for taking the time to invest in your future. We're hoping you will get a lot out of tonight's presentation titled, Who Will You Become? If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat or unmute yourself at the end of our talk during our questions and answers session. We will also make these slides available to everybody if you want to refer to our material later. So my name is Edward Vascara, and tonight I will be accompanied by my good friends, Kazaya and Rogelio, to give you some life lessons we've learned during our journey in higher education. So who are we? We're from the UC Riverside's Biomedical Science PhD program, and we're here because we want to reduce the social and economic gaps in health and education. We want to promote diversity in higher education, and we are hoping to excite the next generation to get involved in science, technology, engineering, and math. Most importantly, we are you. The stuff we're going to talk about are things that we didn't know when we were your age. We hope that you're able to take a few golden nuggets away with you tonight so that you realize higher education, specifically in the sciences, is so attainable. During tonight's presentation, the three of us are each going to be talking about our roots, our college experiences, and how we got to UCR. But before we do this, Kazaya is going to tell you a little bit about what a biomedical scientist is and what they can do with a degree in this field.
All right, so a biomedical scientist is a scientist which is trained in the field of biology and the context of medicine specifically. So our research focuses on understanding how the human body works in order to find different ways to cure or treat diseases. So just to give you guys an idea of various career paths which could be chosen after getting a PhD in biomedical sciences, we like to share some cool opportunities which are out there, such as becoming a biomedical engineer, for about 91K a year, or even a biomedical scientist for $70,000 a year annual salary, or maybe even an infectious disease scientist for about $90,000 to $135,000 salary a year.
So the path to higher education can be done. For those that are worried about the price of college, I want you to know that it doesn't have to be expensive. The way you can pay for college is by getting scholarships and grants. For those that don't know what a grant is, it is basically free money the government gives you, and you will never have to pay this back. Most of the free money that is out there are for students who come from low-income families or dealt with some kind of hardship in their life. To know your eligibility for these types of grants, you will need to fill out the FAFSA. If you're unsure how to do this, get in touch with your high school counselors. They should be able to provide you with some help. I've listed some common grants that people apply for. I actually got the Pell and Kell grant to pay for my undergraduate schooling. Because I didn't want to be a financial burden on my family, I actually took out loans to help me pay for my food and housing. If you can, try to get a subsidized loan if possible. Basically, these kinds of loans are interest-free. We have provided links at the end of the presentation if you want to learn more about this free money. So a little bit about me. The only reason why I have the opportunity to talk to you tonight is because of these four people, mis abuelos. They were born in Mexico and came to the United States in the 60s. They lived the American dream and made a better life for themselves and our future family. Both sets of grandparents settled in Santa Ana, California, where my parents ended up meeting in high school. They got married and had my two sisters, and although they got divorced, my mother always stressed the importance of getting educated. I do have her to thank for why I am involved in science. When she went back to school to become a nurse, she would tell me and my sisters about things like DNA and showed us what bacteria looked like. This really expanded my mind. It was because of these experiences I was interested in going to college for science. And in 2009, I was fortunately accepted into UC San Diego to work on a bachelor's degree in biochemistry and cell biology.
Like many other underprivileged minority students, I was raised by a single mother. I had 6 immediate siblings, 2 of which were actually pursuing a higher degree at the same exact time. So my mother was putting us both through college. Because of this, I had to work throughout my entire college career, which of course posed a lot of issues for me and caused me to struggle a lot academically. But I did not give up. I pushed through and I was able to graduate with the help and support of my family members and most importantly, my mother. So I initially became interested in the sciences in my junior year of high school. Yes, I know that's very late in my academic career. However, I'm very happy I found it. So what got me interested in the sciences was the guidance I actually received from an amazing teacher who taught chemistry at my high school. He was very supportive and very engaged in my education, which led me to falling in love with the subject, which was previously a foreign language to me. And because of this professor, I actually decided to pursue a higher degree in sciences. So during this same year, I stumbled upon U Sciences, which is my undergraduate university, just by chance after getting lost going home from the dentist. And I decided to apply on a whim without much faith of being accepted. And to my surprise, I heard back from the school within 2 weeks, and the rest was history. Here I am in my PhD at UCR. So what I would like to stress from my story is to never give up, to stay focused, and to give your passion everything that you'll have, and you'll surely succeed.
Okay. So like some of you, I'm also a son of immigrants and the first in my family to graduate high school, let alone go to college. I was always big on science and math. I always loved those classes, and I knew I always wanted to pursue a higher education and career in these fields. But I had no example before me, and so I definitely had to thank my teachers and counselors who helped me fill out the applications and figure out which schools to apply to. Being bilingual and a part of a big family-oriented family made going on my own to college a difficult thing at first, especially with the distance.
So when picking a school to go to, ask yourself, is this program you want to do a good one? And if so, will it actually help you in your career path? So I picked UCSC for a couple of reasons. The main one is it really had a great biology program, among others. But I would say the second had to do with its distance. Being Latino, family is very important to us. I felt San Diego was a safe distance enough from home to learn about who I am, but also close enough that if I ever wanted to see them, they were also nearby. I felt like college was an eye-opening experience. When I started my first quarter there, I noticed there was a lack of diversity in the classroom. There weren't many people that looked like me. I would later learn this is a common thing in science, and this is one of the reasons why I'm here talking to you today. I was fortunate enough to find a program that was trying to address this issue of a lack of minorities in science. This program is called the Initiative for Maximizing Student Development. There are many like it at the universities. You just have to look for them and apply. I have a list of some of these programs that are offered for undergraduate students at UC Riverside. Basically, these programs, what they do is give you skills and pay you how to learn to be a scientist. In the program I was in, they trained me in basic lab techniques for 2 months, and then after, they helped me find a lab that I would do research in for the rest of my college. While I was there, I worked in a lab that studied cancer and some of the key proteins that allowed it to spread. One takeaway I want the students to realize is understand how valuable your time is. You really want to try to get the most out of it because you can never get time back. You also have to consider what is going to separate you from your classmates. You're all graduating with the same degree, but how are you going to be different? This is where experiences comes in play. I can't emphasize this enough to get an internship in your field of study.
My college experience was much different than many other students. I actually came into school undecided. So to the many that always worry that you have to have your entire life figured out in order to go to college, I am the living example of just the opposite. I fell in love with clinical microbiology after being given that advice to pursue a degree in microbiology from a graduate student already attending the university. From then on, I knew I wanted to be involved in anything related to clinical processing, microbiology, vaccine development, and infectious disease research. One of the most important things that I learned throughout my undergraduate experience was the power of networking. Because I kept in contact with a lot of my old professors, I was able to contact them for advice about my future. I was also able to score a few amazing recommendation letters from a few of my previous professors for both career opportunities after my undergraduate career, as well as for my graduate school applications. So this being said, I cannot stress the importance of networking enough. Put yourself out there, make those connections, and make sure to stay in touch with your professors and other people you meet along the way to help progress yourself in your career.
So like Edward, I also went to UCSD in 2011 for bioengineering, and I hit the ground running. I immediately joined several groups, including Idea Scholars, LSAP, SACNAS, and IMSD. Several of these provide you scholarship money and travel scholarships to present your research around the world. So I already knew that I wanted to do research when I got to school or some sort. All these opportunity information about the groups I found through emails sent to my school email. So always check your emails. I can't stress that enough. It took 5 years to graduate with my degree in bioengineering with 4 years of paid undergraduate research under my belt. This definitely helped me pay for my housing and other expenses. And I worked on developing biosensors and stretchable electronics in a well-known lab by Dr. Joseph Wang. And I managed to get published 4 times on different publications, one with first co-author. I did find myself focusing a lot on research and losing touch on some of my classwork, to be honest, but I believe this did differentiate me from a lot of my other colleagues who just focus on classes and dared not go beyond just their textbook work. Joining these groups definitely helped provide me with undergraduate mentorship and structure, which I definitely needed to guide me along this process and, you know, get us to where we are today. Edward?
So I'm not gonna lie, when I was done with college, I felt so burnt out I needed a break. I was in school for 5 years. This is the typical time first generation college students take to get their bachelor's. If I'm being honest, if I'd gone into graduate school right out of undergraduate, I would not have survived. So what I decided to do was take 3 years off before I ended up at UCR. During those gap years, I researched the immune response to Zika and dengue viruses. I won't talk about my research today, but if you're interested, email me. If you plan to go the PhD route, what you really want to do during this break is beef up your resume. To do this, you need to acquire new lab skills that will set you apart from other applicants. You really want to try to publish a research article if possible, or at least get your name on one. Finally, you want to foster relationships with your mentors because these are the people who will be writing your letters of recommendation. I did all of these and I feel like it really helped me get into UCR when I applied in 2017.
So I'm actually the exact opposite of Edward. Upon graduating from my undergraduate university, I just knew that I wanted to continue straight through with my education. So fresh out of my undergrad, I actually applied to a PhD program at UCLA, and I was almost automatically denied, which made me very, very discouraged. However, I did not give up. I took a year and a half off and entered the field in order to strengthen my resume. I worked as a laboratory technician as well as a molecular biologist at 2 different companies in the Philadelphia area. So after taking some time off, I decided to try again and pursue my graduate degree. And I applied to UCR on a whim. I was accepted, and upon visiting, I fell in love with the biomedical sciences program. It was very family-oriented, diverse, and had an emphasis on translational research, which was my passion. If I had to give any advice about preparing yourself to pursue a graduate degree, I would emphasize the importance in taking advantage of all research or any research opportunities present at your undergraduate universities in order to make yourself a more competitive prospective student.
So as you may not know, getting into graduate school is very, very competitive. So after graduating from UCSD, I was planning on working at a startup and then apply for graduate school. But because of all the groups I joined at UCSD, I learned about a fellowship that would actually pay me to get a master's and prepare for my doctorate at the same time, or for my doctorate program applications at the same time. This is where LSAM Bridge to Doctorate Fellowship came up, and I went to Cal State LA for 2 years to get my master's in biology and my biotech certificate. I worked on antibacterial compound discovery and on my grad school applications. I did this to further strengthen myself as an applicant, expand my knowledge, my field of knowledge beyond just my previous material science work, just so I could make sure I had that background that grad schools definitely look for.
So after you graduate college, you have a couple of routes you can go. Other than computer science and engineering degrees, I would say all other STEM degrees require you to get either a master's degree or a PhD if you really want to get paid the big bucks. If you're unsure which route to go, 2 factors you want to consider is the time and cost of the degree. A master's program is usually about 1 to 2 years, but a PhD can range from 4 to 7. This length really depends on your project and the lab you're in. Also, there's a test that you take around your 3rd year in the PhD program that if you pass, you technically get a free master's. A master's degree is very pricey. It depends on where you go, but on average, it's about $20,000 a year. On the other hand, a PhD is free. You get paid $25,000 to $30,000 a year, depending on what program you're in. Tuition is covered, and you get benefits. I have some questions you should ask yourself when deciding which degree to go for. So what can you do with this PhD in science? Take it away, Kazaya.
So here we like to just elaborate on some career opportunities which are available after obtaining your PhD in this field. So I love to share some unusual yet cool opportunities. For example, with this degree, you could become a food scientist, which makes about $96K a year on average. You could become a firework designer or a pyrotician for about $130K, a volcanologist for about $129,000. A geoscientist for $93K, a laughter therapist for $73K, which I honestly didn't even know was a thing until I started researching this, or even a video game scientist, computer graphics, AI, physics, or software engineer for about $70,000. So these are just some cool opportunities which are available to people that people don't usually think of when they think of getting their PhD.
So I guess the question lies, who will you become? Maybe you become a tech business magnate like Elon Musk, a famous astrophysicist and science communicator like Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, a 2-time Nobel Prize winner like Dr. Marie Curie, famous NASA mathematicians and engineers like Hidden Figures Dorothy Johnson Vaughan, Mary Jackson, and Katherine Johnson, a great math teacher like Jaime Escalante, or the next Dr. Courbet, a lead scientist in producing a mRNA vaccine for our current pandemic. And if you could go to the next slide. A key thing for making this happen is finding yourself a support group. You need a support system from your family, friends, cohort members, mentorships, and good educators, because this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You need financial stability and security. This is where grants, affordable housing, tuition, loans, and fellowships come in. Overall, you will need time commitment. This is something that does take time, especially if you do take steps along the way. you need to have that passion and the drive to commit to these years of education. And 4, you should have an end goal in mind with a career set with what your education is going to provide you. And with these lists of 4 things, you should be able to have a good start to where you want to go. Edward?
So I'm going to leave the students with a little homework assignment. What I would like you to do is research a career that you want to do and think about what degrees you need to do to achieve this, how much it pays, and what skills you need. I have a link here in the Bureau of Labor Statistics that can give you all of this information. And then what you should start doing now that you're young, start thinking about what you can do now to help you start to plan for your career. Once you've done this, talk to your counselor, a trusted teacher, or a trusted adult that can help you design a plan to get you to where you want to go. Here's our contact information if you feel like you would like to reach out with us and want to talk a little bit more about higher education. Here are the links for the different types of grants and fellowships that I mentioned earlier in the presentation, if you want to go and do your own research on these. And then at this time, we'll go ahead and take any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edward. Thank you so much, Kazaya and Rogelio. That was such a beautiful, wonderful, and educational presentation. We do have a question for you tonight. What are activities that high school students do now to explore how they start figuring out what they're interested in?
Well, I guess one thing I can start thinking about is, I guess, trying to get yourself into college. And I would say maybe other than trying to focus on your classes and figure out what you're doing there, try to also do like extracurriculars like community service, because a lot of the schools that or universities that when you go and apply, they're looking for future leaders. They're looking for people that are going to go out and help their community. So try to, start working on your application now to kind of to help you with trying to plan for your future. Kazaya, Rogelio?
Yeah, I can also jump in here. So something that actually helped me, although I did go into school undecided, just have some sort of guidance, was I stepped back and I thought of the things that I liked to do while I was in high school. So when I was younger, I was very big on crime shows and NCIS and things of that nature. So that led me to researching different career opportunities, which would be available sort of along those lines. And I actually found out about becoming a forensic scientist, which I minored in at my undergraduate university. So I just say, take things that you are currently interested in, any hobbies, and see how you can make that a career for yourself in the field of STEM.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think overall in high school, I did focus on trying to find like role models or at least career paths to look at, even if they were eccentric or on TV shows. I'd be watching like Cosmos, or I'd be like the old school Cosmos, or like Bill Nye, or even House, just trying to prep myself or trying to hype myself up on a certain subject, even if they're exaggerated. But in the end, I kind of just wanted to see what I wanted to continue doing on for the rest of my life, and choose a topic that I'm not going to get bored of. And I guess when it came down to it, I was like, I like math, I like science. I like to get big bucks solving some math and science questions that other people aren't going to do. And I don't know, maybe go out and do something like incredible that could help other people.
Awesome. Just another question for you all. Would you by chance open up any opportunities for maybe mentorship or internship programs that would help high school students interested in STEM, help them with STEM opportunities?
Definitely. So I think we're right now in the works of trying to establish a mentorship program right now. And so the idea behind it is to, pair up some of these students that don't really have the resources, like nobody in their family's ever gone to college, and pair them up with a first generation college student to kind of help guide them with that. And we're still in the process of trying to work with some of the local high schools to basically funnel some of our graduate students into the higher education centers and work with the counselors so we can, bridge that gap with the students so they can see how attainable education is.
And I can second everything that Edward just said. I am extremely excited about the development of our mentorship program as well.
Yeah, I don't think I would have gone anywhere close to where I am right now if I didn't have a mentor telling me what to do or kind of guide me along the way.
Beautiful. Thank you again. Can you guys provide one final word of encouragement for our families and students interested in pursuing careers in STEM?
Yeah, so it's going to be hard. It's not easy. Like even though we talk about all this stuff and we give you all this information, there were lots of struggles, lots of tears along the way. It is difficult. Just persevere. And when you feel like you're feeling down or you feel like you can't make it, reach out to your people. You need a support system in order to really survive. You can't do it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I like to say that nothing is too big for you to accomplish. As long as you stay focused and give your passion your all, anything is achievable.
Yeah, I think if you were to focus on the slides, my 4 major bullet points, I think those are the things that kind of made me get through this, I guess, journey. One thing that I do advise is don't give up. Don't discourage yourself with the first C you get. You will fall. What matters is if you get up and keep going, because in the end, I had several C's coming from someone who would just get pure A's. And I was like, maybe I'm not cut out for this, but it's hard. I was doing research at the same time. And in the end, I managed to get through all those difficulties just by keep on walking one step at a time. If you ever feel like you're not cut out to do something, don't cut yourself out until someone else cuts you out, because you never know. We sent like 20 applications to grad schools and colleges when we're at your age. And we got a few acceptances, and, we got here. So don't give up.
Wow and wow. Thank you so much. I was all excited listening to the three of you, and this is just so inspiring. It's so important for our Latino students, our African-American students, to hear your stories, to see you and know that it is possible, and so diversified. There's so many options. And so what a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. And I look forward to a continued partnership with UCR. So be sure to tune in on April 22nd for our next topic, focusing on mental health. Again, thank you, all of you, for joining us, and have a great night.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
For having us. Bye-bye.
Thank you.